liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. First thing I want to mention is not on the agenda. We are trying a new system on access to the public on our public meetings. We are recording with iPads, and they are on our YouTube channel. They will be open. They are open to the public today. We didn't announce it earlier because we wanted to give it a trial first to make sure. This will be available to any county public meetings. Our plan is now to have it available to the public on YouTube until the minutes of that meeting are approved. Then it will be taken off of the public site, just so we don't have like hundreds of meetings on that public site. But the YouTube channel is Perry County,
Indiana Government.
Indiana Government.
Perry County, Indiana Government.
All spelled out.
Yes.
Yep. And I think, Teresa, you've tried different searches and it pops up. So whether you put a period in it or a comma, it doesn't, it still brings it up. So, like I said, it will be available. The equipment was bought through the CARES Act. The YouTube channel is free. This will be something that we'll be able to use from now on. So, we had talked about live streaming our meetings. Well, I believe that we're there now. And Teresa's done a lot of work with it, so I mean, I want to thank her for it. And we'll see how this works out. But it should work out good. These are microphones up here along the headboard, and that other microphone, that is for the live streaming. So you'll be able to view it when you after the meeting also. The other thing on the agenda, Pam Goffman with approval of payroll.
Yes, payroll that was distributed yesterday on August the 17th for $144,991.52 to all county employees.
Discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion made, second, carried 3-0.
Okay, and the minutes from July 6th and July 21st, I think were mailed to you for your review. Unless you got any changes or additions, I need those approval.
Do you get a chance to review?
Yes, I have no changes, so I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second, carried 3-0.
That's all I got.
Alvin was on the agenda. He's running late, so we'll go to Brad Franklin, Franklin Insurance. Yes. No, you can remove. We're far enough away, so we can understand you.
Thanks for this on the agenda. I just quickly wanted to go over the renewals for the package of the excess policy, which is your auto, umbrella, property, liability, worker, or not workers' separate. Last year's term, you were $136,655 excluding terrorism. The renewal is $142,709, also excluding terrorism. There was no rate increases for the year. Their expenditures were up, and you added, there's more property coverage, four additional vehicles that you were not charged for on the previous term. We don't, when you add them on the current term, there's no charge for the remainder of that term. They just picked it up on the regular. So it's a very good. The next one is the drone policy that the EMA has. It had an increase of $50. No change in the policy itself. Now the next one is the cyber liability policy. That is where the biggest increase is. And the reason the increase is so significant, you all have the option, which is the $10,245. It's $1 million coverage and a $5,000 retention or deductible. There's a second option with the same coverages that raising the retention to $25,000. It saves $2,200 when you do that. It's a significant difference if the claim arises. $20,000. And again, the reason for the increase is because the amount of claims that are being turned into the cyber liability across the world, actually. And obviously, the revenues, increased revenues from the county budget. So
So we need to make the decision which one we
on the
want.
side.
On the side.
Yeah, the package renewal,
Mhm.
So it's between 10,345 or 8,895.
correct, and the biggest difference is the deductible.
Yeah,
The
of
higher
20,000.
Yeah, 25,000.
25,000.
What's your advice
My advice,
as an agent? Mhm.
these things are, they're developing daily, they're gonna happen. There's a county hit 2 or 3 years ago up in northern Indiana. They're hit with already a $40,000 ransom, which basically means that piracy took over the entire computer system. They were shut down, couldn't do anything until they actually they paid the ransom, they charged the ransom. Then turned back on. That's just one example.
That's scary. That's way above my knowledge.
It's getting worse and worse. At $25,000, pretty big money. And the savings between the two is roughly $2,250.
Do we need to make that decision today? Is that part of our,
The policy renews on the 31st of this month.
this month? So we do need to make,
Yeah, because I don't know if you'll be back together until after that.
What's it do?
August 31st. Renewal date.
They won't have a meeting till 1st of September.
well, we'll weigh in some of the council. We got through the council people here. Any thoughts on that? Any one of you?
I think I pay for your protection, so
Mhm.
the 25,000 is a deductible.
I think it is for the county.
We're, yes, I mean, and since you're the, the fiscal body, we wanna pay 2,200 up front now, or do we wanna have the chance of paying 25,000 when we don't know what's coming? I mean, we probably need to make that decision today. So,
We had extra in the budget from this even this year, I think, didn't we, Teresa? And I think, without knowing what figures right offhand that we put in there,
We put the same amount, I think, as in 20.
okay. Which that, the property and liabilities increasing, we probably will be close.
Luke?
Yeah, we buy insurance.
We'll probably be
so
close.
we don't have it, it's just happens.
So we're okay, you think, budget-wise?
We'll be close, but I think, right offhand, yes, I think we'll be.
Okay. Daniel, Bill, are you ready? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to butt in. Are you ready for us to?
No,
Yay or
I just
nay?
want to share the information.
Okay.
The biggest part was explained.
Right,
Yes,
right. Mhm.
The chances we're getting hit is probably slim, but there is a chance. I was talking to Brad the other day, and I talked to an individual from Atlanta, Georgia. The city got hit. They couldn't get out of it. They had to pay $250,000. And they said that was cheaper than being shut down. They had the police station shut down. The whole county, whole city.
We can't afford the whole county to be shut down, and that's highway department, sheriff's department, and the courthouse, and the court, right? Everything.
Yes, it is. It covers the entire county. Keep in mind, your most vulnerable area is here, the sheriff's department.
Right.
It has personal information, it actually has databases, storage capacity,
Mhm.
Well, when did you get these figures?
Excuse me?
When did you get these figures?
Last week.
Last week. Damn, that's a short notice.
It is, this one is always a short notice.
Now, these figures you're basing this on for the whole county, right? Because we split part of these policies with the highway department. Okay.
And we don't break up any premiums, whatever. the
Until I
county-
ask. until I ask what they
Oh,
are.
yeah, that's what we still do.
Right.
We do on the packages, on the
Yes.
packages and things.
I say go with the one without a deductible, a little bit higher one, just
The
to be
higher,
safe, yeah.
the higher premium?
Yeah.
Okay.
With
Bill?
the-
Now, Randy, that, it is a 5,000.
Okay,
Versus
yeah.
25.
Yeah, okay.
Versus 20.
Same as 20 if we get in trouble with it, yeah.
So go with the 10,245?
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay,
Second.
okay.
Second.
I agree with him, so. Motion made, second carried, 3-0, goes to go with the higher premium, lower deductible.
And while we're on this subject, I got a question, probably for Pam, not for Brad. How is that divided out, Pam? How did we do that when we took this policy?
That I'm not sure, because I'm not even sure Brad can help me out on that one, because I always call down to Franzman's, and I'm not sure how the percentage is broken out.
Per departments, per like detention center, courthouse, highway,
Actually, it's always been broken down between the county and the highway. That's the only
county
two
and the
break-
highway.
Mhm.
So the highway pays half?
No, they do not pay half.
Okay. So will they pay like a third, or? Do you know, Steve?
Right offhand, I don't.
Now, is it based on vulnerability or
Yeah.
number of computers, or what's it based on?
We haven't paid this year, so I looked at last year.
Do you know what's based on, Pam? No, the split, yeah.
Brad wouldn't know that. That'd be our decision, how that got split.
Hold on, I'm trying to look through to see if,
And we can discuss that at the next meeting when we talk about the budget changes with the highway anyway, correct?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we ought to look at that since it's raising.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah, I
about,
can see in their line item has got liability and workers' comp all together, where ours is separated, so I
Let's do a
can't,
little
I can't
research
even
on
tell,
that.
I can't tell from the budget wise what it is.
Do a little research and bring it back next meeting.
As far as the breakdown?
yeah.
Okay.
You might find some figures out there too, Steve, if you can.
Okay, we good, Brad? We good? Okay. Well, the next thing on the agenda then is Alvin Evans.
Good morning. Got an affidavit for TIF funds, 2016, 2014A. It's for the final payment to for the final payment for the engineering for the road, for Swatcher Road. And $2,289.66. So that's it. Final.
Is that the final, or how close are we on final expenses for the total project?
This is it.
That's it?
That's it for the Swatcher Road.
That takes care of all environmental and all that?
All that's done. All that's done.
Final,
We've got-
final construction record is being prepared, I think, right now.
Right, so, of course, there should be change orders coming out, unless they find mistakes that may somewhere in the process. But it should be correct. There was, of course, we paid, the county paid their 20% for, into the beginning of the project for the construction of the RAN, so there will be a reimbursement that comes back out of that sometime in the next 2 years. So, they don't rush to give you your money back.
Okay.
So that's it. So, yeah, so that's all in that one. On the other tip, the other thing, Riverview is completed every 2 days as far as we're going to go at Riverview now, which is the ditches, The culvert's all in, it's filled up to approximately all the way to the top, to the same as the building pad, about 100 feet out from the existing building pad. And all mitigation is in place for it. All erosion control measures are in place for it now, so we're on that side of it, everything's good. It's just a matter of finding money to do the rest of the project.
Yeah. Any discussion or question?
Actually, you did a good job on the road. I was on it Saturday evening, just cut through there. Nice little road through there. Which one's gonna be the access to Wapaka? You got two of them.
There's actually three of them.
Three of them.
The first one coming off 66B is the road that goes to the second access road up behind the intersection there with Will. And then there's the next one up that's small, you may not notice it, but that's to the south pad then. And then the third one up, which is buried under the Hoosier Energy's power lines, which were relocated coming across that. That would be the access to the north pad, and then I would go ahead around and the access to the north end of the plant foundry.
Yeah, it's good, great improvement down there.
Mhm. Yeah, and then there's been discussion on, with NDOT on, traffic light in that area, correct?
That's the existing road now, Russ gives the towers down, last Friday. And, mentioned that again, he said the study showed, the studies do not show justified or traffic. Fortunately, there's not enough accidents there to cause it to occur. He's going to have to look back at that, so it's still fine.
Well, as long as it's being addressed.
And we did discuss possibly, using LPA project to construct second access road. So he thought it qualified. Look at that here, Future then, figure out 20% match.
It's always good when you get that.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the affidavit.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made, second, carried 3-0. Thanks for your work. Next thing on agenda, Steve Howell with approval of equipment rental rates.
We did the exact, when we had the virtual meeting, and they did it back in '89, said Teresa asked me to bring it back, you got papers you guys signed, approving, just want to get it in the minutes.
Okay. Any,
We do that every year, don't we, Steve?
Yes.
I thought we had already. Yeah.
That was last year.
Can't find it. Two of us cannot find it in our notes forever, wherever at all.
It might have been during the WebEx, but it never got in the minutes if it did, so we.
I'm thinking we did that not long ago.
Okay.
You
Well,
guys signed it.
entertain it. If we already
It's not
signed
dated,
it.
it's not
It's signed.
dated, so.
It's
Yeah.
signed, not dated.
Okay.
Do we need a motion then?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion to approve the rentals.
Second.
Motion made, second, carried 3-0. Thanks, Steve.
Yes, we'll date it now.
All right. Next thing on the agenda is the appointment of the Veteran Service Officer position. I will say we had two applicants to that, two very good applicants. I really wish we could hire both of them, honestly, in my opinion, but we can't. You know, and I'm glad that we had the interest in that. It does make the choice between the two very difficult. So I'll open it up to two commissioners for any discussion.
Yeah, Tom pretty well said it there, 'cause it's a good thing we had two applicants so close together. That's kind of a hard decision to make. but still, we had interest in it, and that's really good for the county and for the veterans of the county. That we have to pick one or the other. So, Bill, you got anything to say about the two?
Well, I know the one I like, so I don't know if we'll have to see, but I gotta admit, they was both very, I don't know, just different. You know, I guess the young kids, I guess you could say, they're different and not laid back like I am.
Well, and I don't think, you know, I reiterate that either one we choose won't be a bad decision. So
Sure.
that's my take on it.
If you want me to, I'll make a motion for one.
Okay.
I like that Mr. Hurt. That's one I like.
The, what's his first name?
Kevin.
Kevin, okay.
Well, that's the one, if any of them had a little edge in my mind, that was the one I was gonna choose also, so I'll second that motion.
Okay, well, I'll approve, so motion made, second, carried 3-0 for Kevin Hurt. Okay, and,
How do you want him notified? Do you want me to notify him?
yes,
And
yes,
then
if you could notify
him?
both, yeah, and thank Brian for applying and reassure him that he was a very, very strong candidate in my eyes, and I think the other two commissioners, so. Yes, sir?
Is this a part-time position?
It is, yes, because it is, by virtue of the council makes the job description. So
We
it,
had discussed that, but also, going back and forth, that no one had applied, and no one didn't work out, that we could discuss it on that, that's one of those.
yeah, it was advertised as a part-time position.
Well, I'll put my opinion in on that, since we got some council members there. It's part-time right now, and I'm hoping this, if he sees a workload that's full-time, I hope you take that in consideration to bring it back to full-time, because our veterans are very important to our community, and we don't want to cut them short at all. So, if it needs to be full-time, we need to figure out a way to fund it. So.
Now, both of these guys now are, I think they're both drawn from that. But they're both, you know, I think one, what, 50%, and one, you know, the last guy said he was 60%, so. Yeah, so that would save you a bunch of money. They got their medical and everything over there.
Neither one of them talked like their salary requirements were very high, because they are disabled and they're, but, you know, I mean, another option would be to hire, you know, make a second position and hire them both. But, you know, I think they would be that good, but that's up to how you all want to handle it. But Bill's right, they both did mention that they could see it requiring full-time status. And for what I know of the job, I can understand that. It's a big job. So, I think both of them were willing to go above and beyond what was required of them. I got that. So, okay. Well, Teresa will make the notification.
To Wayne.
Oh, yes. I want to recognize Wayne Hubert for his 14 years plus.
14th year now.
14th year now as Veterans Administrator, or Veterans Service Officer. And I think he done a lot of it for his, just for doing of the job. I don't think it was for the money. He just started pushing, and I wanted to make, it's just something for his character. He pushed for a higher salary in the last couple of years, knowing that he's going to retire. So basically for the oncoming Veteran Service Officer, not necessarily for himself. So I think we all owe a gratitude to Wayne for all the work he's done, and appreciate the help that he's going to give in getting the new veterans officer up and going. So, thank you, Wayne.
When is he going to start? When is he going to start?
He will start, would we figured,
It,
Next Monday.
it depends on when your last day is, but it could be as early as Monday.
yeah. Well, there's enough money in the budget to overlap you and him. So it's not gonna be you move out of the office before he comes in. We're really wanting a training.
Very, 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 very.
Yes, yeah, that was the plan. Yeah, and there's, we, Teresa looked at, there was plenty of money in the budget to, have him come on before you leave.
As I tell you, I have, as I made arrangements, I have made arrangements with the ITQDA, getting his qualified, getting fully accredited and all that. Fully accredited and all that. Hopefully a lot of what I call housekeeping stuff here that I need help think with, that I need to be helped
Mhm.
with. We'll have somebody here from, basically, Indianapolis training.
Do you have that scheduled or just?
We have that scheduled. They will come.
It goes out, will it be soon?
Yeah, right away.
Right away, well, that'd be great.
I talked to him last week.
Yeah, I told you, I met that guy up here last year, and he seemed really enthusiastic about getting this stuff done.
There's a whole bunch of. I don't know what kind you met. I don't know what kind you met. But seriously, that part will be taken care of. That part will be for your range, so, for your range. So the other stuff here, handling the van, you don't handle like that, and state people don't know anything about that. State people don't know anything about that, so I really do.
Yeah, and I hope there's ample time, you know, and we talked about at least a week overlap. You know, so, and I figured you'd be available for a call if he got deep into something a month from now and, yeah, so. Like I said, he's very excited. Both candidates were very excited about the position, and I'm glad to see that. I hate it for the one that didn't get it. I really do, but we can only hire one, so. It would have been a good.
Over the years, kind of sort of drawing up, kind of sort of drawing up is what I would like to see is both these guys check the box.
Mhm.
I was really kind of truly amazed. Two guys, we would find two guys, check that many boxes on the list that I had. I really was.
That's good.
And they're both young guys,
The odds of asking both to show up, one's being trained, the other could be there to get that knowledge, in case something happened to one, you know, like veterans, we're not young chickens anymore. There's a way to train them both, so if one, you know, what's the possibility?
I don't know if I got for anything else to do that, that'd be his choice up there.
You're talking about the local housekeeping stuff or the accreditation for the state?
Well, some of that stuff, both of them could attend, one could, you know, learn from him.
I'm gonna leave that up to Wayne if he feels like he wants to. I mean,
I can't go through that. I can't training until you're actually training.
Uh-huh.
You're actually hired. You have to be an existing service officer, so-called basic training.
okay.
Boy, it's such a big saving now. When I did it, up to just couple of years ago, wherever that class was only offered, in a few isolated spots around the country. I was very lucky back when I got mine. The only time you ever had the class in Indiana. Kyle Warren County, I always used it. Started about 5 years ago. He had to go to South Dakota. It's pretty expensive, I mean, it's pretty expensive.
Well, it takes him out of the office completely, out of the county.
Man, that's not cheap.
Right.
Flying out cheap there, flying out, sometimes you gotta go further. I know when I was at the class in Indiana, all over the United States, there were people from all over the United States in that class.
And what are they doing now? What are they doing this time? What are they doing now? How are they doing it now?
They're trained. They're coming here to train.
Coming here.
They'll come on. Yeah. The training will be done on site, so that's a huge saving. And that is a requirement that we keep them accredited and at least 1,000 hours a year. That's what our requirements are.
You have to at least have 1,000 hours to maintain, working hours to maintain. There's a lot of other things too. You have to do, obviously, a lot of other things, education, a lot of other things you have to do. And once you get it, it's not that hard. Once you get it, it's not that hard.
To maintain it. Okay. Got anything else for Wayne?
No, just appreciate your commitment and time.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for support too.
And I hope it's a smooth transition. I mean, and I think it will be. I think
I feel
the,
real good about it, seriously. I feel real good about it, I'm serious, and just, get around
And Wayne did sit through the interviews, our interviews with them, and just to get the feel for the new candidates, so. Thank you for that.
Thanks for letting me see that. Tony, thanks for letting me see that. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. I know.
Chris is the one down at the end here.
yeah.
That's okay, you ain't got very more, 4 months and I'm done, so you can.
Okay, next is on miscellaneous. One thing I wanted to bring up in miscellaneous is some expenditures for the CARES Act. We've got a quote for some laptops and everything to go with it, the programming. And it's basically 2 laptops for the courthouse, 10 I'm saying. I mean 10 for the admin side, I call it, that can be used by any of the county offices, including the council and the commissioners for web meetings, web-based meetings, and can be tied in to be able to be used if for some reason that we have to close the courthouse and we can do essential work off-site, whether it be at people's homes or whatever. We learned a lot when the courthouse was shut down for 6 weeks, what things couldn't get done and why they couldn't get done, and address the what can be done remotely and what devices that we need to be able to accomplish that. So the total amount is around $18,086. That includes 10 devices to be kept here and to be used for a variety of things, whether it be
Well, you're actually, it's 10 laptops, the 2 Surface Pros.
and then 2 tablets that the assessor's office uses to be able to do their work remotely, as opposed to putting things on hand drawings and then coming in and trying to download them, and basically doing the same work twice. So the work will be done, yeah. This cannot include, we don't believe, any monthly services. So if these expenses are approved by David Clark with the Indiana Finance Authority, that they are COVID related and approved expenses, any monthly fees for anything will have to be budgeted otherwise. But like I said, these 10 laptops, 2 basically iPads or some sort of remote, so that they can do their work remotely on the assessments. They got behind on their assessments. And then 2 devices for the court side. But the estimate is around $18,086. We're going through, this come from Ann Island, which is a local company, which will help us with the IT stuff and the setup and be our support here. So what I'm asking from the other 2 commissioners is the approval to go ahead and put this on an application with the CARES Act.
Now, I've got some department heads in there. Would that be used for emergency use only?
Right,
I mean, I don't want to start causing Hall's feelings. When you get things like this, people's going to be staying home, working from home, and the other departments cannot do that. Okay, I want to make sure of that. That'd be my only concern. So.
This is for God forbid, if we have to close because of COVID-19 or fire, tornado, and like Tom said, even if for snow days,
Yeah.
we could be able to do that, and we could forward the phone, and check messages from home as well. But
Yeah.
it's not a get out of free, go to work day thing.
I wanna make sure of that.
Yes.
And also, like Tom said, snow days, I think that's very important because we got departments that has to stay working during the snow days, and a lot of times we close the courthouse. We might not be able to, we can get by without doing that now.
Right,
so.
and then the way Luke's line works, on the court side, they go through Odyssey, which is a web-based program, so they can log in from anywhere and access their desktop. The west side, none of our programs were web-based, so we were not able to access. Working with Anjan through an island, he's gonna give us this portal. So where before with Jeff, with Intech, he felt like if we were at home on our Wi-Fi, tapping in here, it would not be secure and we would be open to ransomware and all of that. Through this island, it's a secure portal, so we go through our server, so all the firewalls that we have here protected will be the same thing. And each person, and that's why it's gonna be versatile, that anybody could use these laptops, because it's, when I log in, it logs into my terminal. Jane can log in, and it logs in her computer. So.
It just has to be switched up for the different service.
So each person, they'll have their own login like we do now, and it logs them into their desk, basically.
So like if the auditor's office was already using it, it's logged into the servers that we've got with our financials and stuff, and let's say the recorder's office, something happened, they need them. Anjan said all he has to do is re-coordinate it or re-bypass it to their server instead of our server. He said that's easy enough just to change it to go to wherever it needs to go, if different offices are using them, so.
And then and it was mentioned that the council was mentioned them on their web-based meetings, or the Zoom meetings, or WebEx, whichever they're using, that would be a device would be available for them, so this could serve that also.
These have camera, speaker, and recording already on,
So they'll be here and be available for that. Okay.
What was the total price?
$18,086.40. Yes, sir?
The guy over there wants to talk to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Does this include the one? Does this include the one?
Yes. Yes, it includes that.
Would you need a service? I know Tom said it probably wouldn't be a monthly service when you're out
I
on.
looked at Hotspot, and I had called and talked to Sandy, and if we got a hotspot, like what the EMA and the Sheriff's Department, there's monthly fee. But I was talking to Jeff from Intech, because I called PSD and there was confusion, I don't think they knew what I was asking, and so, but Jeff said that, like, I could take my cell phone, and on your cell phone, I have the option to turn on a personal hotspot, and I can.
And run off the data off yourself.
Right,
Right.
right, because the difference between the sheriff and the EMA, they use it, they're gonna use it 12 months out of the year. I'm only gonna use it probably 5. And I'd be paying the whole year, so if I can attach that personal hotspot to our cell phone, that's probably what we're gonna do, to avoid a monthly service.
Do you have unlimited data?
I do, and I think most of my staff that go out, I believe they do as well, but I'm gonna double check on that, and if need be, I'll just send my phone out with it.
Well, and just, I know I'm not real techie, but I know that what we've been using on the ambulance is we use iPads for our run reports, and there's nothing more protected than medical information. But what we have the option to, or out in the field, is to use the hotspots or tablets, which just happen to be iPads, have their own service, and we also, and that is Verizon. We also have AT&T phones so we can use the hotspot off of it. If we don't have service with Verizon, we got service with AT&T. The third option is that the information can be downloaded on the iPad, and then when we get back to station, we sync it, and it goes back.
And we can do that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I know there's lots, and it's all protected, and,
Yeah, that's an option, that they can actually access it out there, data enter, and then come in here and then upload
Yeah,
it,
well-
if they don't have the hotspot.
yeah, because where we used to do everything on paper form and then come back and convert it, now we just do it once. So that's what you're asking for.
Same thing could be done, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why she needs the pro, those Office Pros instead of just the laptops.
Right.
Because she'll have better capability with those for that.
Mhm.
And it has the option to sketch, it has the option to,
Right.
out there versus coming in and doing our analog up and down and over analog.
Got lots of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any more?
No.
What I'm asking for is approval pending the approval by the Indiana Finance Authority as a COVID-19 or CARES Act expense.
We're just doing a little backwards what we have been doing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm fine with that, so I'll make that motion.
Okay, Bill?
Second.
Okay, motion made, second carried, 3-0.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Give us an amount that, how much is the amount that, an amount?
I don't have the exact figure right now, but I can.
Roughly, how much do you have left?
About 90 some. I mean, that's, Steve, is that a fair enough guess? After this. Yeah.
Are there any other future things,
The only thing that we are aware of is extra overtime for the health department, and that's an unknown. And I don't know of anything else that we're even discussing. Steve, can you think of anything? Yeah. But like I said, we talked about the equipment to do our live stream meetings, which is a very real expense because of COVID-19 and these laptops, and then all the other stuff's been explained earlier, so. Mhm.
Hey, Steve, is the deadline still December 35th right now?
December 31st right now, so.
Well, and everything we brought in, it's helpful for the county, so.
is there another grant out there, under the meeting discussed, that would pay other things?
The HEALS Act is in progress. That's what the Congress is trying to discuss now. That's and I think that the House came back early from vacation, and basically without getting into a lot of the political stuff, the Republicans wanted $1 trillion and the Democrats wanted $3 trillion, and they're going to meet somewhere in the middle. And we all know how this is going to work. It's going to be somewhere in the middle, and they're all going to justify it, and that's fine.
What would this provide? I mean, what kind of?
Well, it hadn't been decided. There is so much.
It's all over the place.
Yes.
It's all over the place. They're so far apart that whatever they come to in the middle is, there's not even anywhere close yet. Not even
I didn't know if this
anywhere
would be
close
additional
yet.
to what we're working with now, and what would affect.
I got the impression I have that this is going to be geared more towards a loss of revenues so much. The last one was $3 trillion. The CARES Act was $3 trillion. Of course, it trickled down all over the place. And our share locally, our county, was $619,741. So using that as a guide, if they are battling between $1 and $3 trillion, I would suspect that we're going to get some pretty good help, because I can't imagine it end up being zero. Both sides want. So it is unknown. It is a big battle. They're talking, and like Mindy said, they are all over the place, from one extreme to the other. Everybody's got what they think is important. Do I believe there's going to be more money come down the tubes? Absolutely. I can't imagine either side not agreeing to more. How much? I don't know. I mean, somewhere between 1 and, last figure I got for some analysts was somewhere around between 2 and 2.5 trillion is where one analyst I watched thinks that that's where the HEALS Act will end up being. And how it's distributed, I mean, I don't know. The good news is too, looking at distribution on revenue stream, we're not like Florida or Tennessee, and we're looking at nationally. Florida and Tennessee rely heavily on end user fees such as sales tax and stuff like that. And when you slow the economy down, that's the first one that gets the huge hit. And now, one of the aspects that hurt us was the people stopped driving, so stopped buying gas. And Steve, now you can contend the motor vehicle highway fund comes directly out of gas tax. Well, the two sides of that is, and Steve and I were discussing this the other day, there was around 90-some thousand reduction in the amount of motor vehicle highway money that come in. But the current project, and this has to do with oil and oil price and people using gas, and well, the oil price come down, and in the project, the paving projects that we have, we spent about $200,000 less because the price of asphalt came down. So, and that's my opinion, that's directly related to COVID because people stopped using gas, oil price went down, it drove asphalt down. So at the end of the day, we're pretty even, aren't we? I mean, the amount of money we lost and the amount of less that we had to spend for the same projects. So it's all in how you look at it. Steve and Marilyn do a good job of watching all of that. Last month was a reduction of $128 compared to last year. Yeah, so.
The biggest problem with that is, once we get that money, like now we've got money to manage the community crossings, I don't know any way getting that back out. We're gonna have 250,000 extra in there probably. We might have to.
Reappropriate?
But I don't know if we have to do that. I'll have to find out. We might have to do that. We'll have a match for next time or a big chunk of it. If we can't get that back to use it now, it ain't gonna use this year.
But it could help us next year.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna help.
Mm-hmm. No, we didn't lose it, we're just not sure how you can.
Yeah, we didn't lose it, we just not sure how it's
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of the other counties in the same situation, probably state will address that somehow. Yeah.
Well, there's good news and bad news, but the bottom line is we don't know what's gonna happen. We just have to deal with it as it comes to us. And as the present, we deal with it in the present. If I got anything else?
I got something.
Yes, sir?
I got something. As others and I are trying to make aware, the county will likely be in have a major fiscal strain over the next couple of years. We've been trying to make that obvious over our past couple meetings, discussing it as needed. This, of course, will be felt most on our local income tax revenue, which Ball State University says will be down several hundred thousands of dollars over the next couple of years. And their latest estimates are $647,000 to $956,000 countywide, including Tell City, Canton, and Troy, where you take about 50% of that loss. Our estimates that we're working off right now for this upcoming budget, we're down $489,000 in local income tax to work off for our 2021 budget. So we're already seeing the effects of COVID on our local budget. And furthermore, nearly 40% of our budget is reliant on local income tax revenue. So this estimate that Ball State says we're going to see, I mean, it's going to be hard to work off of. So while we control most of that money, you guys are responsible for edit revenues, the allocation of edit revenues through your capital improvement plan. And since that expires on December 31st this year, I'm coming before you, not to represent the council, as a council member myself, to ask that you consider restructuring that plan in some sort of fashion. As you're aware, 50% of this money goes to the highway department, and as you previously just discussed, they have revenue problems. Hopefully it won't be as bad as they say, due to being able to move money around, but they're gonna have problems themselves. 6.5% of this money goes to courthouse security, but for years now, we barely had enough money to fund courthouse security. So when we take this revenue drop into account, it's gonna be difficult to fund that as we need to. 23.5% of this money goes to funding jail operations, but with the proposed 2021 budget that we've been looking at, that leaves jail operations with just a $5,900 budget to operate on. So this money is only dispersed once a month. So if we have something come up that's cost $5,900, we have zero cash balance for it. And that's not a good position for us to be into operating the jail. And then lastly, 20% of this money goes to contract payments. So if we adopt the exact same plan that we have been for the past couple years, I fear that the county will not be in a good enough place to operate in a flexible manner that we're likely going to need to. So if we cannot adequately fund roads in the manner that we need to, if we cannot operate our jail in the fashion that is responsible, and if we cannot provide courthouse security, we are failing to provide basic government services in a responsible manner. So I am asking that you consider restructuring your plan by lowering the percentage utilized for contract payments by 3% to 5% at the most, and allocating that percentage that you change to our other utilizations, so we can adequately and responsibly fund basic government services for the next couple of years. While I'm aware that our plan states that it is expected Tell City and Troy will also pay for Mid-Saturday receipts to said corporation, for certain similar agreements, an exact percentage is not technically defined. Currently, Tell City only pays 19% of their net revenues, and Pendleton says it will pay approximately 20%. But all units of government in the county are going to be facing fiscal constraints for the next couple of years. So I would expect that they're all going to need to look at their revenues, especially headed revenues, and see how they can change things up to make sure that they themselves fund all their government services that they need. And additionally, I would say that the scope of services section of the PTDC should be reviewed and priorities identified, so we make sure that we have the money to fund what we need to with them. But in funding that economic development, we cannot forget, or we cannot choose to fund it in a way that takes away from providing other basic government services. So a 3 to 5% move around would be $34,000 to $57,000 for us to work with to move to other organizations. So I mean, it's not that much, but it's something to work on. So I would just ask that you consider in this next capital improvement plan, just consider restructuring how that money goes, because we're going to be in a position where we can't operate the jail in a responsible manner, and we can't provide courthouse security in a responsible manner. So we need to make sure we have funds to provide all of that basic government services. So I just ask that you really take a hard look at that, because the council is going to be making very tough decisions in the next couple of years. So that's all.
That's 3 to 5% off of the 20% that goes to PCDC. Everything else would stay the same.
I would use that 3 to 5% and change it, and move that 3 to 5%. So jail operations has 23.5%. Maybe we could bump it to 25%. Just moving percentages around to make sure that we have a cash balance to operate on. Because if we don't have that, we're really putting ourselves in a tough position. It's going to be worse, even. It's going to be much worse this year. Like I said, our estimates that we're working off right now is down $489,000 right now. And those are maybe a little high, but that's what we have to work off of our budget, and we won't know what we really have until November. So we control most of this income tax, but you really are the people leading the use of edit money. So.
A little history before you came on, Luke. There was time that there were some people in the council was looking at taking some money from the 50% from the highway to help pay some other bills. The insurance was one of them, and we was struggling on that. And as commissioners, I think Tom might have been in on this, if not Larry Willie also. But we pretty well put our heels in the sand because we thought the infrastructure of our highway department, paving, because that's where that money goes, was very important. Because, and I know each one of the commissioners remember 30 years ago, our roads in pretty bad shape. And they designed a plan with that 50% of that edit money to rebuild. And as long as I'm commissioner, I want to stay with that plan. I'm glad you feel the same way.
It's big. I mean, providing roads is a basic government service. I mean, you have to make sure that we have money to fund road construction.
And, you know, we're barely getting by, and if it wouldn't be for community crossings, we'd be going backwards, I think, Steve, wouldn't we? So, thank goodness for the state, and providing community crossings out here for us. If not, we'd be struggling. But you can see our roads is in good shape, and the other year I proposed that, take some of the money when we were struggling again with health insurance from PCDC. And they told me that's an interlocal agreement. You have to be, everybody has to come to the table on that. Just like what you said. So, you know, we need to probably look at it.
Right, 'cause the language in our agreement, in our capital approved plan just says that it is expected others will pay this much. And like I said, Telsey only pays 19%. I mean, it's only 1%, but Hamilton says approximately 20%. So I would just like to see maybe some discussions happen on that, because our rainy day fund has $28,000 in it. We don't have a rainy day fund to rely on to fund all this extra revenue. So I would ask that you guys really take a hard look at that.
Well, and I'll tell you, Ed, I sit on the executive board of PCDC, and I will bring this up to PCDC to work with us on that.
Prioritize what we have to prioritize and to do, make sure.
Yeah, for true needs of the organization services provided, and bring that up to discussion. I think that that organization needs to be brought in on this discussion too.
And I think it's a 3-year plan.
Right.
So if they can help us out for 3 years.
Yeah, this doesn't have to be permanent, but our next couple of years are going to be not good for us. But like I said, we have to make sure we provide our basic services.
Exactly, and detention center is just as important as the highway department is, because that's what makes our county safe. That's what we can house inmates and get them off the street. So
We have to have more than a $6,000 operating cost. We have to have more than that, so.
And the board of directors of the people, I mean, they're local people and they understand the strain. So I think bringing them in on the discussion is a good idea.
I agree. So that's all I agree. Thank you.
I want to say, not only do we not have a rainy day fund, not only do we also have a very low general fund balance.
That's true.
Compared to other counties, we're low compared to other.
But on the other hand, council members, if we look what we got in this county, without looking at the dollar signs, we're rich. There's a lot of counties would love to be where we're at with the infrastructure we got. So I agree with you there on low balances. I'd rather have it this way than trying to figure out how to do it. We'll have this way than a detention center at the time we're doing now. Thanks for your concern.
Hopefully some money will come from a different direction too, that'll help, but we can't plan on that, I understand that. So we have to make the plan that we're all on our own, so. Anybody got anything else miscellaneous? All right, next meeting?
I wanted to bring up one thing. I got an email yesterday from Michelle Pajuani from the Forest Service, and she is wanting to know if any of the commissioners would have an interest in meeting with her and possibly Betty as well about considerations for use of Mantle Point. I kind of was under the understanding she was going to be here today, but she obviously wasn't able to make it. But if any of you are open to setting up a meeting with her and Betty, and I don't know, there may be others,
I could do that.
I'd like to know that I can maybe pass that on and give her your information to contact you.
Yeah, contact me or give her her schedule or
Probably,
whatever.
Okay.
along with that, put on the agenda to discuss a little bit with Deer Lake or Walk-In Lake. We haven't did that for a while.
I know, I was hoping to just go ahead.
Yeah.
No, it isn't.
No. So they had a permit, so we probably need to put that on the agenda too, just see where we're at on that.
Okay.
Because they had a 5-year permit and it's getting close.
And in addition to that, your next meeting being that the first Monday of September is Labor Day on the 7th. We normally have the meeting the next day, so that would mean your next meeting will be September 8th, which would be a Tuesday at 6 o'clock here at the courthouse.
Is that on our schedule, or are we scheduling that now?
Yep. That should be the date on the schedule.
Okay. All right, we'll see you then.